What happens when you take a drug to treat an infection and it doesn't work? Well, that's what I found out. Valley fever is it's a disease caused by a fungus that lives in the soil. And for some of us, we get sick. So the valley fever that I got went to my central nervous system and caused meningitis. The first drug that they gave me didn't work. When the germs are defeating the drugs that are designed to kill them, it's considered a drug-resistant infection, meaning that my drug wasn't able to control the infection that I had. So then it really becomes problematic because now that whole category of drugs that they've been giving to me aren't working right. Drug-resistant infections are becoming too common. They impact millions of people around the world every year. The drugs that we have aren't killing infections like they used to. And that's not just something that could happen to me, that can happen to you. It can happen to any of us. It was a very traumatic time in our lives. I'm in the hospital, it's Valentine's Day. My wife brought me balloons. We spent the day and I promising her I wasn't gonna die and her looking at me and just not believing that I was ever gonna come out of the hospital. And all that was just the start of a journey. So now we're using a drug that's in a classification called Polyene. It's an old type of medication. They can't make it into a pill. So you have to have this drug administered to you with a needle. So this bump that you can see on my head right here is actually a port, and that's how they administer this drug to me. And I can literally feel it moving down my body. And when it gets down to my stomach, it makes me violently ill. And there's no other option for me. When you're diagnosed with one of these infections, and especially because mine is a chronic infection, it's a life sentence. Prior to getting sick, I enjoyed spending a lot of time outdoors. Unfortunately, one of the things that has changed in my life is that because of the disease that I have to be very cautious in the sunshine. So one of the drugs that I use to combat the fungus that's inside me made me very sensitive to the sun. So skin cancer is a very high concern for me. My wife and I, since then, have really become one person because we had to fight this together. And there's no one else that could do it with me. Change the lives of my children. I knew that I was going to continue to fight for my wife, for my family, for my life. But my children and my wife were bystanders, and they had no control over anything, and they felt helpless. I'm so appreciative of my family, and my wife went back to work, so I'm like, okay, you the first 15 years of our marriage and relationship, you took care of the kids and did the dishes and stuff. I do the dishes. I always barbecued and did stuff, but especially in the last 5 years, I cook. What I do for enjoyment, my recreation is a lot of it's gone. But I've replaced it with other things. So I've replaced it with time spent with family. I've replaced it with working to help other patients and their families that go through what I do and helping them understand it and, when possible, helping them prevent it. One of the easiest ways to prevent infections is just cleanliness, washing your hands. If you get a cut, wash it out. Take care of yourself. Take care of the small things in your life so they don't become big things. We can all prevent infections, and that's how we stay ahead of drug resistance. My goal is to spend a lot of time with my grandchildren and helping my family. Family is something that's very important to me. It always has been. They supported me, and they're the reason I'm still here.